I am Rachel Nichols. I've got the bald and beautiful duo of Richard Jefferson and Kendrick Perkins with me. It's a lovely day, gentlemen. Dreams are going to come true. Mostly Perk and Richards because they're going to get separated from each other later, but you'll get there.
When? Can we get like a clock, like a countdown clock for that?
The love in this room, this very big room, is palpable. Amazing. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA landscape and where the stars are. Wizards GM Tommy Shepard told reporters yesterday that Bradley Beal has not requested a trade. He says Washington will move forward tonight with the 15th pick in the draft. Now, we don't know if that will change down the road. Beal can extend this offseason. As Perk has pointed out a lot on this show, there is a lot of money coming his way if he wants it. He could become a free agent in 2022. But what's important for tonight is if he is not available to other teams like, the Warriors, who have been looking for someone of his caliber to package some assets and make a trade for, who should those teams that feel like they're under pressure to get not just a young, talented guy, but a guy who can help their team now? Who is out there that someone might be able to use their picks tonight to package and make a trade for? Perk, who do you like?
I like Ben Simmons. And look, I know he had a horrible postseason this last season in the postseason, but let's not forget, right? Ben Simmons is a guy that is capable of going out there and getting you 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists in the right situation. It's just that Philly is not the right situation for him. And we're talking about a guy that finished second in defensive player of the year voting. So he plays defense. He's one of the best lockdown defenders. He could go 1 through 5. I just think he lost his confidence because he had to stand around. He had to watch Joel Embiid. So if I'm looking right now, I'm thinking Ben Simmons, is the most valuable piece right now to get moved from Philly and go to another home and find him another destination, a new beginning.
No, I agree with Perk. But the funny thing is when this draft, don't laugh at his jokes. Don't laugh at his jokes. When the draft,
you guys are the best part of my day. Keep going.
When the draft gets started, people that you didn't know available often become available. So that's a key thing here that you have to pay attention to. It's like everyone has been talking about Bradley Beal, which it feels like for like 3-4 years, because this team is not very good and he's a very talented player. Ben Simmons, obviously his name has sparked up quite a bit here, but even Dame Lillard had some moments where Dame's name was up there. But it's like teams find it very difficult to get away from these types of players, but players also have a difficulty asking for trade because they know, as Perkins said, they leave $70 million, $50 million on the table. So to me, I think you might see a player that, I didn't know he was available, or that name, because everybody's not leaking information. Sometimes people are just trying to see what's out there. But, Ben Simmons is probably the best player that is known to be available, but the cost is just extremely high.
It is high, and Woj has reported that Daryl Morey is asking for a lot in return for Ben Simmons' trade. Now, I personally think that Ben Simmons may be more valuable to another team than he is to the Sixers, meaning, the idea of like, hey, we don't want him, so why should you want him? Well, you should want him because he might be more valuable to you. Paired with Joel Embiid, we have seen there have been issues. I personally believe if they have enough shooting around them, it can work, but it has not worked to the extent they have wanted it to. They did not find themselves in the NBA Finals this year, which is where they thought they were going. If you have decided that combo just isn't going to work for your team, or that Ben just isn't hearing the coaching staff in the same way, that doesn't mean for another team that talent package could not be just extraordinary. So I think that is why this ask is so high. I just don't know if they're going to get it tonight. And you got to understand, too, there's a lot of teams out there that if you get them to the postseason, if you get them to the second round of the postseason, they had a win. They'd be thrilled. They'd have the win of the year. The team would make a ton of money. There'd be tons of jersey sales. But in Philly, that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for second round. They're looking for NBA Finals. And so, you have to kind of, temper like your expectations based off of like what you want and want to accomplish. So I think Ben Simmons has a ton of value for other teams, but maybe not as much as what Philly wants in return. It to be. And tonight's such an inflection point too, because an unpicked draft pick has more value than a picked one, right? So if you tell another franchise, hey, I'm going to hand you whatever number pick and you can pick anyone you want, that has more value than if you make the selection and then later this summer are trying to trade that same pick. That guy is only going to fit in to certain markets, right? So I think it is is interesting to see the action tonight. And you talk about teams that have pressure, that just making it to the first or second round isn't enough. I mentioned Golden State at the top of this segment. The Warriors have a lot of options tonight on how to move forward. They have the 7th pick. They have the 14th pick. They have James Wiseman. Remember, the number 2 overall pick from just last year. They've got a potential money matching contract in Andrew Wiggins. They also have to deal with, though, a hefty luxury tax bill. In fact, Bobby Marks crunched the numbers. The Warriors already are starting at a $120 million luxury tax bill this season. Whew. The moment the Warriors make their 2 picks tonight, that goes up. Currently combined to be worth $9.1 million. That means that their luxury bill tax increases
How is that even real?
to $175 million just by making those picks. And the way that works, Richard, is that when you are adding more salary to the balance sheet,
I'm just saying, how did you
if it goes over a certain amount, you have to start paying luxury tax on it.
And they're also in the repeater, aren't they? They're in the repeater.
They're hard capped, I believe, at the end of this.
So. That's a lot.
Right.
That's a lot. 175 million of like, hey, thank you for the season. We're going to send 175 million off.
It's just money that isn't going onto the court.
Isn't going onto the court.
League to be spread around other teams.
Right. I mean, when you look at the Warriors, right, they're in a pressure situation for the simple fact that Steph Curry, right? You have to get this right, in my opinion, because we talk about Damian Lillard being on the outside, but Steph Curry is also on the outside watching, and he's coming up. I think he could sign an extension for a huge, a lot of money, and, probably that will take him all the way past his prime and more, and probably retire as a Warrior. So if I'm Steph Curry, I'm evaluating this draft. I'm evaluating what they're doing in free agency. So, I mean, it's a lot of pressure on what they do with these draft picks tonight.
Yeah, and the one thing about, Steph Curry in this, and you, like you said, being past his prime, if you put,
whoa.
No.
Perk did not say he was past his prime.
Hear me out. I'm saying this contract will probably take him past his prime. He's 33 years old. If he signs a 5-year contract, he's not going to be in his prime at 38 years old.
I'm not betting against him shooting a three-pointer at age 38.
Well,
you can.
The point that I was going to make was that if you put the right people around him, it will extend his prime. Is that okay? Can I say that?
I mean, why are you so emotional today?
This is not emotion. It's a draft. This is exciting.
This is big. This is big.
Very
Look,
exciting.
here are their potential assets. They actually have a great asset package to offer to another team for a guy who is more on Steph Curry's timeline. The question is, getting back to what we talked about at the beginning of this segment, is there that guy out there? Because Ben Simmons probably doesn't fit their team. So if Bradley Beal isn't on the table right now, and Ben Simmons, who we know isn't a great fit for the Warriors, they may have to make these picks tonight, which again then kind of opens up luxury tax issues, opens up timeline issues around your big stars.
When I look at all that they have, I think that all those guys would look great in Portland.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
Who do you feel you're getting back?
Dame.
Well, I'm asking because
Dame on the point with Steph running around, that would be nightmarish. Draymond running around with those 3 shooters. All I'm saying is that Portland, that package, I'm not saying that all of that would be available, but if you got Wiseman, if you got Poole, if you got Wiggins,
might take more than that to get Dame, was my
I'm just saying, if you got all those picks that are also available, again, it's the same with the Ben Simmons situation. What you might want might never be available.
Right.
It might never be available.
And by the way, Dame Lillard has made a point. He has not asked for a trade in Portland. And I know the Blazers consider him, he's not just a star to them. He is an emotional part of that community.
I mean, we have to realize that, I don't know if the audience know this, but we all know this, right? Certain teams work behind the scenes, right? So some of these picks the 7 and the 14 pick that Golden State may choose today, the draft prospects, it may be a pick that, hey, Portland may say, I want these 2 guys. And later on down the line, they have these guys in their back pocket just in case that Dame Dollar decide to leave Portland when he come back from the Olympics and say it's time. And now you have everything and more. You have the draft picks you wanted, because that's how it happened with me on draft night, right? They just swapped picks. They already knew.
I just don't think they wanted you.
No.
I just don't think they wanted you.
Relax. You don't just listen. You don't go in the first round out of high school if a team don't want you. It's just not. It just don't happen.
It was off potential.
No, it wasn't off potential. It was just pure dominance.
Here's what I know, and you mentioned Dame Lillard on Team USA. I know that there are several guys in his ear trying to say, but wouldn't you look good in our uniform? Draymond Green. We'll see if that actually happens. All right, one player, if they do end up picking at 7, who might be available there is Florida State's